And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Final Fantasy 12 Zodiac Age Struggle for Freedom Let's Play. This is part 20 as of right now. Unfortunately, what you're going to be seeing is a lot of the same here because, well, this is one big area. So not really much is going on there, unfortunately. What I plan on doing at some point is that I can probably just skip the rest of this area, to be honest, because again, it's a lot of the same. Because looking back at this, I know that I show off as much as I can, but if we're seeing basically more of the same, then there's almost no point to showing off, even if it's not necessarily old. However, I think at the same time, when it comes to I think the Great Crystal Maze, I may have to show that off in full because that is a pain in the ass to go through. Which I will get to at some point, I know. Especially if I want to, especially if I want to take on the Ultima Esper and then do the Omega Mark 12 optional boss, which is, in my opinion, the hardest boss in the game. Even harder than the 1 million HP dragon. I think it's the Hellworm, I believe, and definitely a lot harder than what was that boss's final boss name? Not final boss, but rather the Let's Side Quest final boss. I'm gonna look him up right now, actually, because his name is actually on my mind. Yasmat, yeah, there we go, Yasmat. He has like the highest HP total, but he's not that hard of a boss if you know what you're doing. I mean, granted, he's still hard, but he's not like insanely difficult. Omega Mark 12 is insanely difficult because even though you might have a good strategy using the reverse spell, he has a way to break your pattern. If he breaks your pattern, you're pretty much dead. And you also don't want to leave the battle either, because if you do, you basically reset his whole entire hit point, and you have to do it all over again. So trying to refrain from that if you could. As far as if you want to do it with the last party member that you can get in the game, like the last guest party member, you can. I have done it without. I forgot his name already. The Sky Pirate you meet at like 60 at like well 3/4 into the game. I forgot his name already. Redis, yeah, Redis. That was his name. Reddas. Yeah, you can do it with him. You can also do it without him. It's just that if you do it with him, you have to keep in mind as one other ally you have to bring back up, and plus he won't have access to reverse spell like the other characters might. He only has access to Arise and Holy. Arise might be okay, but Holy, I don't know if it's gonna be that useful. I'll have to do that fight at some point. But yeah, anyway, as far as how the rest of the game's going, well, I am preparing for a FF12 Twins tournament being hosted by Silentcaster. I'm getting ready for that. I recently uploaded an FF12 live stream yesterday. At the time it was recording, anyways, because I did the live stream, which was on January 15th, and I uploaded the morning of the 16th. So I'll be uploading this video on the 17th. At the time of this recording, anyways, that's what I plan on doing. But yeah, in terms of LP grinding, this place is definitely has plenty of enemies via the LP grind off of. So if you have like the golden amulet, we should have at this point. This is definitely, like I said, a great way to have your characters catch up, assuming they have the license to equip it. Which, you know, admittedly, when I first played this game, I might have mentioned this in a previous part or so, but I guess I'll bring it up one more time for those that might not be aware. I didn't like the license board system, because why would I have to need a certain license to be able to equip something? I mean, I can understand it. I can understand. Excuse me, my God, I can't talk. I mean, I can understand, like, maybe need to level up certain augments and to learn certain abilities at a certain point. Like, I can get level, like, I understand level requirements in RPG and whatnot. I just didn't like and, you know, needing ability points to learn an eventual new skill. That is, you know, that has always been fine by me. Like, that's one thing why people did like Final Fantasy Tactics, or, I'm trying to think of another one that did it. Octopath Traveler does it too, where you get the ability points, or the job points rather, they call it. That's another way to do it. Final Fantasy V did it as well. You get like certain job points to the point where that you're able to master an ability or a skill, and in Octopath Traveler's case, you get enough job points to the point to where you can learn any skill you want in any order, but the requirement will be even higher because you're gonna be learning another new skill, which you should eventually. The reason why I did a little jump cut right there was because I was needed for something, you know, helping out my dad and whatnot. That's probably the reason why I did not even bother curing Silence on Fran. I mean, I do eventually, but yeah, Silence on your mages are never a good thing. And I only have one Rose Corsage, and I plan on buying another one at some point. Once I can get them the license to have them be able to equip the Rose Corsage, because a nice increase in magic and being immune to silence is always a good thing for mages. For physical attackers, you don't have to worry about it too much. But yeah, back to what I was saying before. Because the thing about Octopath Traveler, what that game did was they let you pick the skill you want to learn. But for each skill you learn, the amount of job points required will go up until you eventually master it, and then from there you have to go to their shrine. I mean, Octopath is a different gimmick altogether, so I won't go into it too much. But you do have to go to their shrine, like the secondary job shrine, just to be able to unlock it for your other characters to play as, so they can get nice stat buffs and whatnot. So I think that game handled that combat system really nicely. But that's a Nintendo Switch game, of course. But back to this game. Yeah. I mean, that's just the thing. I'm glad Zodiac Age, and the other thing I had a problem with the original was that the fact that everyone share the exact same license board. You can make everyone be basically the exact same way, so there's almost no point into not learning anything. So it kind of takes the use out of at least essentially 3 characters. And you just pick I mean, granted, you always gotta pick your favorites anyways and then stick with it, but at the same time, there would have been nothing unique about them because they all can perform the same spells. They can all equip the same swords. You know, they can all utilize the exact same abilities over and over again. Which, which I know some people didn't necessarily have an issue with, but I kind of did myself. But then when Zodiac Age came out, and the fact they actually have job classes, which is basically the international version, I gave this game another shot, and I ended up enjoying it for the most part. But a lot of the treasure hunting, like as far as what you need to get some of the best weapons in the game, can be a bit tiresome. After a while, especially since you only have like one shot at getting the Damascus Steels or the gemstones and things like that to get these all-time powerful weapons, and of course the weapons that are so powerful they don't even have a graphic for it, that you can only just get by manipulating the RNG. I'm not sure if that's because Square maybe intended to input these items in there, but they couldn't get the graphic finish in time. it is definitely bizarre that they would do that. The other thing I was gonna bring up too is that I mean, it's like I said, you can get multiple copies of those weapons. That's just the other thing. You can get multiple copies of the of whatever that Lombo's name was in Zodiac Age. I know there was 3 items that was just disgustingly broken. I'm gonna look it up right now. Yeah, I try to remember what that is. I don't. Hold on, I actually have the guide. I actually have the strategy guide, I think, somewhere with me. I'm gonna grab that for 1 second. It's just I can't remember what the weapons were off the top of my head, but I'm just gonna grab it right now. So just give me a second. All right, now I got the guidebook in my hand. I mean, it's amazing what can be classified as dust collectors and whatnot. I have the exact same. I actually have the PS2 guide as well that tells you the same thing. But let me just take a look here. I know it's in here somewhere. I just have to look for it. Da, da, da. Okay, here we go. I'm at the equipment section of the guide. Let's see. Okay, so the first item, one of the first 3 items you can get that is incredibly broken, like I said, is the Gendarme shield, and it's basically optimal evasion for both physical and magic, and absorbs all elements, which is pretty damn broken if you ask me. Especially if you ever combine with something else that will grant it basically guaranteed evasion. With the exception of a few attacks, of course. There are some attack properties that just ignore evasion. So, it's pretty damn busted. It's still pretty damn busted, though, on all accounts. But you would have to do that if you had the diamond armlet. I think it does this weird thing where you hit yourself 8 times in a row or something. And I think you only have 1 party member in there. It's a weird way to get that going. I think you can only do it after the ultimate boss too. I think now that I think about it. If I remember right, for those of you that did play the game through and through and remember how that worked or how to trigger it, feel free to comment about that because I'm really curious. I mean, I did it myself in game. If anyone was ever wondering, I can always show you screenshots to prove it. But I'm sure you don't need to present evidence from that juncture. But still, it's a pretty damn powerful shield to bring on for anyone. The other thing I think you can get is the sights in Grad. That one is very convoluted. This one you have to again manipulate RNG on the airship. Because you have to. I remember what that does. You have to load a save file. Right, you have to save on 1 save file, right, and then you have to start a new game when you play as Rex, and then you have to get like 3 specific numbers when you cast Cure on yourself, and then once you get those numbers, you load your other save file where you are on the airship, and then you pick up, I think, was it an invisible chest? But no, not an invisible chest, but you pick up a chest that will eventually contain the weapon, and this Lombo is, like I said, it's really, you can do it actually pretty early. Like, as soon as you have access to the airship. Like, when you unlock the other 4, not other 4, but I think as long as you can just board the airship in general, if you're going from, let's say, Rabanastre to Buzherba, you can unlock it as early as that. But good luck doing it, though, because that will take forever. And then I think finally the last one is the Great Trango. You could theoretically steal from the Zodiac Esper, which is the hardest Esper to fight in the game. But good luck getting that. That's like a super rare steal. And you can also get in the chest in the Pharaoh Subterra. Again, you need to manipulate RNG to do it. Involving Cure. I mean that's a weird thing. I'm not sure if that's because if they were intentionally left out as a graphic, and just not coded properly. Was it just not coded properly? Was it intentionally left out? Was the graphic intentionally left out? I mean, I'm really curious about the origins of these three, as to why there's no graphic for them. I'm not sure if it's like a PS4 issue, where the graphic couldn't load, even though they thought it could, but they didn't want to take it out of the game because, development cycle issues and whatnot. I'm not really sure, but it's just something that really, really intrigues me about these items, and the fact that they're all so damn broken. And the other thing is that they can be equipped by anyone, even if you don't have the license for them. I mean, that's the other thing too. Is that you can equip them without having the proper license to do it. So if you can get those three weapons, if you can get the longbow that I mentioned, you can get it at almost any point after you get the airship. Then you basically just kill every enemy in the game, just about. And it kind of makes the boss fights a bit of a joke. Just simply because of the damage output that weapon has. But yeah, now as far as, I'm trying to think of something else to talk about. Oh yeah, these arrow runes are weak to wind, so if you happen to have like an arrow sparrow or a arrow, what you call it, those motes, yeah, the arrow motes, you can use them to do a lot of damage to them, if not one-shot them, if you want to make good work of them anyways. What was I gonna say? Just kind of lost track of time. Oh yeah, yeah, and I might have mentioned this again before, but I might mention it again here. This game is also getting a port for the Nintendo Switch. The only thing is that if it's just gonna be a straight up port for the Switch, I might not bother getting it then, because I already have the PS4 version of it. If there is going to be anything special about the ports, like maybe DLC, maybe like brand new content or something, or if they were to bring back like a character, like a DLC character, you can bring in, like, perhaps, I don't know, Luso from Tactics Advance 2. I think that'd be cool, because this game basically takes place in the same universe as Tactics and Tactics Advance. And I just realized look at this, I'm using up a lot of antidotes here, like, holy shit. Yeah, you can tell these enemies just love to poison you. Yeah, so pretty much in this mod, you really want to bring as much status healing as you can, because otherwise, so you're not gonna have a good time with this mod. That's all I can say about that. Okay, treasure here. Yep, just some money. And again, if you can avoid the elemental orbs, the giant elemental orbs, avoid them if you can, because at this point, your attacks won't really do a lot to them, and they already do a lot of damage. Doesn't matter what element they are. I think the earliest one you could take on is the dark elemental one, because I think this is weak to Cure Magic and Holy. I want to say. Yeah, again, this is what I think anyways. Definitely when I reach up to the merchant, I'm gonna restock on those antidotes because goddamn, they're like, I'm like being sucked dry here when it comes to using that. But at least I'll plant earth stones and suck in fruits to sell though. At least that'll be okay. Spiriton, I have not seen you since 2 areas ago. And yeah, that's another thing that can happen too, is that sometimes your party members would fight like another enemy on the side because the thing is that their AI is dependent on what gambit you set it to. So for example, if the gambit is set to have your party member attack the nearest target, then which other targets in their position, is closer to their position, they're going to attack. As opposed to if you would assign them, have only attack what the party leader is attacking. I mean, that could be a risky thing, but at the same time, if there's like multiple enemies, instead of focusing all your attention on just one enemy, you can have them spread out and kill other enemies too. So, if you're in that kind of thing, that can be an effective strategy. The whole divide and conquer thing. And again, this is kind of why bringing Vossler along, at least at this point in the game, is a good idea against these slimes, because if you use Wither and Expose, you have an easier time killing them. Or at the very least, have an easier time, alright, or at least have the easier time, withstanding their attacks, because they do give quite a bit of experience at this point in the game. Yeah, I think another item I might want to restock on is possibly eye drops. But then again, I do have blind up for it. I think I just might as well just use that at this point. There we go. And of course, as soon as I use the Princess Kiss, the slime wakes up Bosch. Alright, and down goes these slimes. Yeah, in case you haven't figured out what the rest of the part's gonna look like, it's just gonna be just me fighting slimes. Someone's gotta clean up these caves. Alright, just gonna continue to whack away at them, of course. As far as what else I've been doing as of late, well, as usual, I've been working. I've been working quite a bit these last couple of weeks, or at the very least, trying to get whatever hours I can when working for Amazon, because sometimes they'll just run out of work for you to do, and I just get a little bit tired after that. Kind of. I mean, I don't want to say I've been procrastinating this playthrough. I mean, I know I have this on the brain, but at the same time, I kind of I've been focused on other things too. That if I were to LP in the future, I would have a good idea on how to play them instead of just playing and recording as I go. Something maybe like a maybe a game for Nintendo Switch I'd like to LP at one point if I can learn. Hopefully I can. Hope I can learn how to record a Switch game. I'm sure there is a way to record a Switch game. I just have to find that means, whether it's using Elgato or which other means there is. I have been reading about a PlayStation 3 emulator. I have been hearing about that these last couple of days. If that's the case, then there might be a number of PS3 games I definitely would like to show off at any point, rather for streaming purposes, or rather just trying to record and upload them for the channel. I noticed that the enemies of the they're taking 0 damage. I'm not sure if that's because of was that coming from Vossler? Yeah, I have no earthly idea why the damage output was 0. Perhaps Eternal, if you can shed a little light on what was going on with Vossler's weapon. Is his sword like water elemental or something? Because the spirit tons are weak to fire, you know that, but it doesn't say anything else about them being resistant to something. Or are they just immune to like two-hand sword attacks or something? I don't know. Okay, see, cause he looks to be incredibly useless in this fight. Okay, and the skill I used right there was Traveler. What Traveler does is the damage you would do will be based on the amount of steps you've taken before using the skill. It's one of those skills that you really can't spam because the next time you do use really do use Traveler, it won't do as much damage for you. So you basically have to wait until you've used the amount of steps necessary to cast the spell. So, like for example, say if you take like 10,000 steps, for example, and Traveler ends up doing like let's say 1,000 damage. If you try it again, immediately Traveler would just do way less damage. So Traveler has to depend on the amount of steps you've taken before you use the spell again, so it makes it selectively situational. I mean, if you're a cardio freak, then yeah, Traveler's gonna hurt, but it's honestly one of those things where you have to ask if it's really worth using or not. I mean, everything about this game's abilities too, I find some of them to be rather useless. Like, Charm, I know it's nice to add confusion to the enemy, but I don't really find myself using it that often, considering that I can just kill them with straight up attacks or magic, no problem. Like, offensive magic anyways, no problem. Trying to think about Revive, I guess in case you don't happen to have like a Phoenix down, but even then, you should always have Phoenix Downs on you, or at least someone with white magic like Arise or something like that. Revive, I think, sacrifices a portion of your health points, if not all of it, to revive another team member, which to me, I don't know, I just find it to be a little bit too risky to use. I mean, unless you like one of those people that like to make Revive work, then by all means try it. Another ability that I don't find to be particularly useful, I think there was another skill. I think it's Soul Eater. I'm not sure exactly what that's called. I'm sure it's a night skill somewhere. But I think what it's supposed to do is supposed to sacrifice a portion of your health to do more damage. I don't know if that means you kill yourself to inflict more damage, or is it just kind of like Cecil's Dark Knight, Dark Wave skill from Final Fantasy IV. And oh boy, I did not realize this, and oh boy, that really worried me that I triggered the Sap Trap. Sap basically drains your HP like no other. It does it way faster than Poison, whatever will. And it's just not fun to be hit by that. Not fun whatsoever. So if you have any remedies to spare, by all means, use up the remedies. Especially to those that that can remove sap. I think remedies on their own remove sap. Now, I know there are like remedy lores that can enhance the effects further. Like remedies can even cancel Doom, which is really essential. And thankfully, I had just enough remedies left to get rid of the sap status effects on all my characters. But with that being said, this is basically the end of the part. I will be showing off this area next time, and then I'm going to jump cut to a new area where I have not shown off yet after this. So, till then, thank you guys for watching, and see you all next time.